deck featuring 4 Perilous Mirror. Awesome. I can't wait to see what this deck is capable of. Reassembling Skeleton, Skin Renders, Morecut Banshees.
It's actually kind of sweet to have like have Gravecrawler with Pod going when you have 4 Phantasmal Image in your deck.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. One card I expected to see here that I do not see is... oh no, he does. Okay, so he has 1 Glissa the Traitor. His main deck kind of sweet with those Perilous Mirrors. Post sideboard, he can bring in 3 Ratchet Bombs, and then he can get like Glissa Ratchet Bomb going. Brandon leads things off with a Swamp and a Diregraph Ghoul.
So right now the other Brandon Daniels versus Brandon Crane, probably thinks it's just a mirror match. But he is in for a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect that. He's like, both of our names are Brandon. It would stand to reason that we're both playing zombies.
That would be my first assumption, too. So Brandon, we're just going to call him Crane and Daniels, cracks in for 2 and plays 2 more Diregraph Ghouls.
Yeah, so I mean, right
a set
now,
of ghouls on turn 2.
That's 6 damage.
Not bad.
On turn 2.
So we'll see what Daniels has to beat this.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty tough to come back from this.
Yeah, when he didn't have a 1-drop creature, and he was on the draw. Let's see what he can muster. None of the 2-drops really match up well against it.
Yeah, the other thing is, I mean, it's hard to be on the defensive when you're playing the zombie deck because you have so many guys that come and play tapped.
Right. Or can't block.
Yeah.
So Brandon just says, go. And takes 6 more, down to 12. I guess when he kept this hand, he wasn't expecting to be facing 6 power.
It's a Perilous Mirror. And he's like, what?
Probably a little raised eyebrow.
Perilous Mirror is just adorable.
Yeah, he is.
Oh man, he's just such a good guy. There, see Brandon Daniels mulling over his options here.
Yep, and now the one small advantage that Daniels has right now is if he just scoops without playing a spell, Crane might just put him on blue black and sideboard accordingly.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right play.
I think so. I don't think he can win this game if he had no turn 1 or turn 2 play. There's no, pretty much no spells in his deck match up well against what Crane has. The only thing he could have would be something like a Gets Verdict and a Tragic Slip. And even then, he's still taking 6 damage. So again, full grip of cards for a zombie deck, just not enough mana to play them all. And I have a feeling that's going to be a recurring theme throughout the weekend here.
Just passing the turn again. Back over to Brandon Crane, who's playing his Sweet Bug zombie deck. All right, and in he comes for 7. Brandon's going to just,
take out one of the ghoul's throats and Tragic Slip another.
And both those just gain 2 life.
Yep.
He does have he has Cleanup Crew in his hand in the form of Black Sun Zenith.
That might not be a Zenith. It doesn't look like he has any Zeniths in his 75 here.
Oh, then it's certainly not a Black Sun Zenith.
Huh.
So it just looked like it.
It sure does look like it, doesn't it?
It's a Gets Verdict, similar art, right?
I am not sure what either of those cards are. But either way, Crane had no play on his turn except a Gravecrawler. So 5 power versus Daniel's 9 life.
And Perilous Mirror is essentially an extra 2.
Right.
So Brandon's kind of at 7 here. Because there's no way that Perilous Mirror is going to stick around for long. The Diregraph Captain comes down, but not going to do much in this spot.
No, unless he has a Tragic Slip to go with that Captain, Daniels is going to be in really rough shape here. And also one of the great things about the zombie deck is that they have so much reach for a mono black deck or a black blue deck or whatever colors it might be because of Geralt's Messenger.
Yeah, Geralt's Messenger with Mortar Pod can output, some
hefty damage.
Pretty big,
especially with Fume Spitter.
Over the top plays.
So Crane considering his options. If he has any sort of removal spell, this game is just over. But it doesn't look like he does.
Yeah, I mean, he would have played it by now had he had a go for the throat.
Also, he only has Tragic Slips in his deck.
Oh, okay, so. He has Skin Render.
Skin Render, yep. Which is a zombie.
It is. Kind of a strange looking zombie. Not the type of zombie you'd expect to see when you see a zombie.
No.
It's like a lizard. No attack with the Paragraph Ghoul.
Okay, so doesn't want to trade the Ghoul for the Captain. Which seems alright to me, seeing that Crane has no more zombies. Was maybe worried about the possibility of a Tragic Slip. Something like a block on the Ghoul and then a Tragic Slip on the Gravecrawler would leave him with only a 1/1. But now this happens.
Yeah. Just to open himself up to...
In response, Tragic Slips his Perilous Mirror, killing the other Diregraph Captain. Fancy. But Image makes that play look silly as 2 captains again are in play.
And has he found a...
Grave Titan in his hand?
It is a Grave Titan in his hand. He is playing 1 Grave Titan. And only 23 lands. A little light for... That's like a recurring theme.
To be fair, Grave Titan usually will be Birthing Potted up. But still, it is pretty funny. 6-drop in your 23 land deck. So Liliana, not very effective right now, facing down a Gravecrawler.
Yeah, I think he's just going to have to start taking it up.
I think so.
No. Starts attacking.
Liliana, attack.
That's interesting. Normally when you play the Planeswalker, you're going to want to... Alright, just take up the Liliana though.
Yep, he discards a land, and... I didn't see Brandon discard.
I didn't either, but I'm assuming he did.
Yeah, I think they would have caught that. We'll make sure, though, with the table judge. So it looks like Brandon drew a Skin Render, but does not have the mana to cast it, nor... Yeah.
Still got a 4th land. So I think Brandon just attacks... Or Crane just attacks Daniels here.
I think so, too.
Puts him at 2. Like, if he's at 2, you have a deck with Geralf's Messenger and, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And Perilous Mirrors. 4 Perilous Mirrors and 4 Geralf's Messengers in your deck. And your opponent's at 2. That does not seem bad.
Wow, he just takes it. Goes to 2
that's
life.
Really interesting.
That was an aggressive attack. Okay, so it does look like Crane discarded the Grave Titan. So.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. He knows that's not going to come into play this game.
Mortar Pod from Brandon.
Yep, so Daniels has an empty hand and is playing a Mortar Pot. He's then going to shoot the Gravecrawler and make Liliana take it down to 2 and make Crane sack the Diregraph.
Chooses to use that Tragic Slip on the Phantasmal Image instead of on the Diregraph Captain.
Yep.
Interesting.
Definitely the wrong one.
Yeah. I mean, you would just rather do it to the other one because the another Tragic Slip off the top could kill the Phantasmal Image even if there wasn't Morbid.
Right.
Whereas it cannot kill the Diregraph Captain unless you activate Morbid.
And now, for example, Daniels could have equipped his Mortar Pod to the Captain for another ping, but he doesn't. And Skin Render takes out the Captain. 2 toughness or 3 toughness, doesn't matter. Yep.
Would have dealt Brandon 1 point of damage.
Right.
And it actually would have also killed the Skin Render.
Yeah, it would have FTK'd the Skin Render.
So it would have made a big difference, actually.
Yep.
Very big difference.
People never re-equip their Mortar Pod when they have extra mana. They always should, but they never do.
Brandon draws the Geralf's Messenger. It's a good one.
And equips. Dropping Crane down to
9 here.
9 life. And Crane has many draws that are just lethal. Perilous Mirrors are lethal. Messengers are lethal. Any zombie bringbacks Gravecrawler. But it appears that he's drawn another Skin Render.
Now what he wants to draw here. I thought he had a Birthing Pod in his hand, which it wouldn't be bad to play a Birthing Pod because then you can,
Not sure I like that.
I don't like that at all.
Testing Daniels, see if he'll shoot in response to the spell.
Shoot in response to the spell. What just happened? Wait, what happened? What happened?
So heads up.
No. They just did this completely in the wrong order. No. Now the Drops Messenger is just dead. You don't understand. He shot you in response to the thing. Unless you chose to target your Skin Render. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, that. So it looks like.
Can we get somebody to pause this game for us?
It looks like Daniels might have just told Crane that his Skin Render was dead, and I think Crane just binned his Skin Render when he didn't have to.
No, the Giraffe's Messenger is dead and the Skin Render's in play. No. DQ Brandon Daniels. He just straight up cheated.
I think.
Or unless he just didn't know. So maybe I shouldn't make wild accusations like that. But
well, what if Brandon Daniels says sacrifice in
why
response?
is nothing happening here?
Wow.
But isn't there a judge sitting next to them? Okay. Who is sitting next to them? Who is the judge sitting next to them? That is ridiculous. This is absurd. Like, how is this even on air?
We're going to see if we can get some clarification from the judge here as to what just happened. There might have been something we're missing, something verbal that we missed.
No.
Maybe.
Yep. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe they just decided to play a game that's not Magic for a little while.
Well, looking ahead to the sideboards, like I said, we'll get that figured out for you, but...
Yep, so here,
for game
sideboard, Brandon Crane has 2 Mental Missteps, which are pretty good here. He has Ratchet Bombs, which are really good here because he has access to Glissa, which makes it especially good. He's going to bring an extra Glissa if he brings in this Ratchet Bombs. He has extra spot removal, and Tumor Exarch's even good here.
Worm Coil, definitely
awesome
really good
here.
Yeah. And that'll probably be about it. Just a little tweaking to the deck.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of change.
Yeah,
that does make his deck much better in this matchup.
Yeah, it does. Daniels, on the other hand, has a Swamp in his sideboard to go with his Obliterators, which I have to imagine we'll see. He has Mimic Vat.
Oh wow, Mimic Vat's insane in this matchup.
That's
isn't
awesome.
It?
I think.
Wait, shouldn't Mimic Vat just be in the main deck of these zombie decks? I think that card seems so good.
I've seen a lot of Mimic Vats creeping into lists lately. Just as like a 1 of, a 2 of, a 3 of. It's a really good card.
I didn't even think of that. That card's awesome.
Yeah. Nihil Spellbomb. Probably we'll see that.
An extra Cemetery Reaper definitely coming in. Very good against the Gravecrawlers. Good against Drops Messenger also.
Definitely. But other than that, not
so
too much. So
have we got any clarification from the table judge? What just happened there?
It doesn't appear. No.
Yes.
No,
Josh Abels agrees with me.
No. So
okay, so James Allen's trying to explain what happened. He said that. So what happened is the. So he's saying he did it in response to the come into play trigger. Then the Skin Render wouldn't have died, though.
Right. Then they put the Skin Render into the graveyard for no reason. Basically, what usually happens in that kind of situation is the creature with the Mortar Pot on it sacks itself in response to the actual spell. So that way the Skin Render would have to kill itself. But due to the Undying, there was another legal target in play. The part that's unclear is whether or not that Brandon Crane just throwing the Skin Render into the graveyard.
Yeah, I mean, if he had done it in response to it targeting the Drawless Messenger, that's fine, but then the ability would have just fizzled.
Right. And
the Skin Render wouldn't be dead.
The Skin Render would be in play and Crane would be alive.
Yeah.
At that point the cards would...
and I mean, it just... Yeah.
Either way, that should have been a different game. Crane just scooped a little too quickly.
I'm gonna go have a little talk with that judge after my next break. During my next break,
RTFC? Is that what they say?
I mean, it's just like I'm stumbling over my words.
It was pretty ridiculous. But we'll see if Crane can come back, win the next two. And Crane will be on the play with his zombie pod deck. And it looks like he's going to keep. And they'll both...
Why even have a table judge, right?
And here we go. It appears that this is the conversation that should have been had last game, but Daniels mults to 6. Looks like they're having a good laugh about it, about the murdering of the rules that just went down, the butchering.
All right, so back to us. Yeah, I think right now the judges are probably talking
investigation, see exactly what went down,
what exactly happened that game. We have the RIP video footage. There's a table judge there.
Should have been caught at the time, but wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
It's fine to miss something. It's just
the gray area of this situation, though, is if Daniels knew what should have happened, because his messenger should have died. Is what should have happened. Now, the point that I'm not so sure about is if Crane just throws a Skin Render into the graveyard, can Daniels just assume that Skin Render targets itself?
Yeah, so, I mean, here's my understanding. Right, if he had people on Twitter, we don't have audio, which makes it like a little harder to break it up, but people on Twitter are suggesting that maybe he sacrificed the Drawless Messenger in response to the Skin Render targeting.
Right.
If he had done that, though, then the Skin Render's ability would just fizzle, because it wouldn't have a legal target.
It would just get countered, and the Skin Render would still be in play.
Yeah. Whereas after he sacrificed the Skin Render and targeted his opponent, he pointed at the Skin Render.
Oh, so he did. I missed that part.
Yeah, so...
I didn't see him point. Well, that right there is... I don't know if you want to call that misdirection or what, but that's borderline right there.
Yeah. I also agree with everybody on Twitter that I need a big red button. Yeah. 7-0 in Turton World Craig Wesco match where the table judge actually misunderstood Thalia's interaction with Ice Crown Scepter.
Right.
And...
Yeah. No more needs to be said.
All right, we need to talk about something else. So,
how about Tampa, Florida?
Tampa, Florida
has a pretty rich history.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So the thing about Tampa, Florida is I don't know if people know this, but Tampa, Florida, a few million years ago, this is actually where the dinosaurs defeated the aliens originally. The robot aliens.
Yeah, that was forever immortalized in that movie. That was a few years ago. Michael Bay, I think, did it.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that actually happened in Tampa, which is pretty exciting. And like now the alligators here, they still talk about that.
Yeah, they sort of rule their roost now. They don't let any robot aliens in.
It's but if it wasn't for the dinosaurs defeating the robots back then, who knows if organic life forms would become like the dominant controllers of this planet.
The entire course of history would have been different.
Yeah.
We owe a debt of gratitude to our dinosaur ancestors. Really. Some of the original bipeds. Also, a little better known fact about Tampa, this is actually where the North seceded from the South in Tampa, Florida. Yeah. I bet you didn't know that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. This is where it all went down during the presidency of James K. Polk. Yeah. This was the spot right here, right on the bay. We have the tweets pouring in about the situation. We're gonna try and find out exactly what happened. We don't know either. All these takes are viable. The problem is we don't have audio, so we don't know exactly what went down. But they're doing a full investigation right now, and
We'll
figure it out. Tampa, Florida, also the home of the Rays, formerly the Devil Rays, the home of the Buccaneers, and the home of the Alligators too. The Tampa Bay Alligators.
Florida State University.
Yeah, Gators.
Yeah. Gators. There are a lot of people from that university running in a marathon this morning. It's, right through this convention center here.
Yeah, that was nice. We got some nice 5-hour energy drinks.
For free.
For
bono.
free. They're just handing them out. You know, we had to sort of pretend like we were in the marathon, do a little running. So, there are the players. We have Daniels on your right and Crane on your left. And it appears that we've unpaused.
All right, so Brandon on turn 2 has a Perilous Mirror.
And Brandon, the other Brandon, says go, with a go for the throat in hand.
Once again, players, sign-ups for the Modern Challenge are now open. We'll be starting at 2 o'clock. We will also take sign-ups for the...
We were joking about the sound system.
At 3 o'clock.
Yeah, for all the people who did fall asleep in history class, I was just making stuff up, so... Take anything I say about U.S. history with a grain of salt.
Gravecrawler added to the board by Brandon Crane.
Yep. And Daniels just draws, chooses not to use his go for the throat, wisely, I think. Doesn't need to worry about that 2-1 quite yet, and it just comes back. And Daniels first plays a messenger, it looks like. Dropping his opponent to 18 life.
Yeah, Messenger really good in this matchup.
Yeah.
Definitely the best card. Or Mimic Vat may actually be the best card.
Yeah, imagine if Daniels just slammed a Mimic Vat here, just untapped, slammed a Mimic Vat, said go.
It's pretty hard.
Yeah, very hard. Crane's only answer is a Ratchet Bomb on 3, which he might not have even brought in.
Crane attacking Daniels for another 3, bringing him down to 16 here.
So, image from Crane will copy that messenger, dropping Daniels to 14. And now, if you don't know the interaction between image and undying, it's pretty neat. The image is going to come back with a +1/+1 counter, and we'll be able to copy any creature on the battlefield, not just the messenger.
Now, one Trolls Messenger for Brandon Daniels kind of trumps the entire board of Brandon Crane at this point.
Yeah, it does.
He's a smaller life total, so he's going to need to worry about Trolls Messengers from the other end, but...
And he says, you have an image on my messenger, I have an image on my messenger. Drop you to 16. And another image.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is kind of something funny that can happen in this matchup if both people are playing 4 images. Like the first person to play the messenger, can actually just kind of get... It just comes down to who has more images after that.
Right. And I see Crane with another image in his hand too, so there will be 5 messengers on the board if Crane wishes it. Now, fortunately for him, the messenger's coming to play tapped. So he will be able to attack this turn.
Yeah, now when it comes back, do you target Perilous Mirror? Or do you target... I think you do, right?
The Perilous Mirror?
When your Phantasmal image comes back?
In this matchup, you probably do. it'll be a little more versatile, and more importantly, it'll be untapped.
Right, so some people on Twitter are wondering what happened last game. We'll recap that after this game is over. Diagraph Ghoul added to the table by Brandon Crane.
Yep, if you're just joining us, Brandon Crane has a Diagraph Ghoul, a Perilous Mirror, a Gravecrawler, and now 2 Giralf's Messengers. All the images on the board are Giralf's Messengers without counters.
Yes.
That's just to clarify.
Now it's a somewhat clogged board state, but definitely
I have
not
to,
going to be a long game despite the clogged board state.
No.
Giralf's Messengers make it end quickly one way or the other.
Yeah. Now, even though Daniels has more Messengers, I definitely think he's on the losing end of this one. Mostly just from the presence of Gravecrawler. That card's just going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
Because eventually these Messengers will trade off.
It's hard for them to all trade off, though, and not end up killing one player or the other.
Right. Crane's at 14, Daniels is at 12.
And a Phantasmal Image, which is copying a Giralf's Messenger, and a Gravecrawler coming into the red zone here.
And Daniels will take that. Wow, goes to 9.
And that's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah, I mean, simply looking at the board, Crane has 6 points of damage. Of non-combat damage. Basically, the only thing that has to happen are those images have to block or get blocked. So I'm not sure why Daniels is tanking at the end of Crane's turn. Might he have sided in Surgical Extraction?
Maybe.
Oh,
okay. He still isn't taking the damage. Okay. So, Giralf's Messenger will come back, dropping Brandon down to 12 here. Or Crane down to 12. Daniels going to 7 from the attack, and then the Phantasmal Image will come back. And let's see what it's going to target.
He should probably actually only be at he should be at a little less life because the Giralf's Messenger is blocked, so he should have only taken 2 that attack, I think.
But he may take another 2 from the...
Right, I think he will. So Daniel should be at 8 right now, if that's indeed a Messenger. So now that this combat's over...
And it is a Messenger. It came into play tapped.
Yep.
So.
Brandon Crane did just leave himself open, though, at this point. If Daniels had something like 2 removal spells...
Or even a Mortar Pod, right?
Yeah.
Mortar Pod's good enough right now.
Although you can't equip Mortar Pod to an image.
It's true. Oh, that is true. But it'll just die in response when you equip it, so that'll end up dealing the damage anyway.
Right.
And then it'll come back and do more damage.
So Daniels crashes in with his team.
Loss of life.
2 3/2 Messengers and a 4/3 Messenger. And the mirror will jump in front of the biggest one.
Yeah, and this is going to drop Brandon down to 6 here, this attack.
Yep, so Crane goes to 6, and we'll see what this Perilous Mirror targets, if it'll kill the Messenger or just shoot Brandon for 2.
Just going to shoot the bigger Messenger.
Yep. Not an unreasonable play. Crane feels like he has the favor in the long game here, which I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree too. The long game being one more turn.
1 or 2 more turns at the most. But you also just have to wonder if Daniels might just have been dead on board.
It looks like he is, right?
Well, that certainly won't do
It's
too
a
much.
lot of mana to do not much.
Yeah, he'll just have to either say go with that. He
Make
definitely
himself sacrifice a Phantasmal Image, bring it back as a... no,
everything
doesn't really
comes
work.
into play on tapped. Yeah.
Yeah, except the guy that can't block.
So makes Crane sack a creature, and he, of course, sacks a messenger, copies the messenger again, dropping Daniels to 6.
And here Crane's just going to turn all of his guys sideways, and we'll be on to a game 3 for you.
Yep. So go for the throw, and still dead.
Yeah, it's still dead.
So a little bit of an ambitious attack by Brandon Daniels.
Ooh, and Brandon Crane showed his opponent the birthing pod, even though he hasn't seen it yet.
That is, I would not have done that.
I would not have done that either.
He just tipped his hand to a huge part of his deck.
Yeah.
The only way that I would do that is if I was planning to board them out on the draw, which is actually probably pretty reasonable. I don't know if he'll do that, but that's the only situation in which I'd show. Actually, yeah, the birthing pod engine of this deck seems really poor against mono black, or against black-blue zombies. If Crane could just side out 4 birthing pod, Grave Titan, have him go Lich Moorcut Banshee, he would way streamline his deck, and I think that would be a lot better for him.
Yeah, the Perilous Mirrors are just so good here.
Yeah.
Like, they're actually just fine.
They're really good here.
Yeah.
They chump block.
I wouldn't mind going down to 1 birthing pod. Like, it's
Sure.
not like as strong as it is in other matchups where like you always want to draw 1.
Definitely.
But like just having 1's awesome.
Yeah. Like, you would probably want to keep 1 and also keep the 1 Moorcut Banshee, so you could chain your Skin Render into a Banshee and probably just end the game right there.
Makes sense.
So at that point, that's sort of a slippery slope argument, and then you say, well, why not just have the Grave Titan also?
Well, I mean, you're going to have the Worm Coil for 6.
Worm Coil, that's true too.
Please come to the scorekeeper stage. Rich Williams.
So who do you think that this match favors with Daniels on the play?
I mean, it's really dependent on how they both sideboard.
Right.
I mean, there are some sideboarding routes that Daniels can make that make the correct sideboarding different for Crane and vice versa. So it's not that either one of them would have necessarily made a mistake. It's just your ability to understand what you think your opponent's going to sideboard and how to react to it properly.
Right. And actually, Andrew Kerrigan on Twitter points something out that Daniels could have stayed alive that game. He could have Liliana'd himself, sack an image, choose to copy nothing, have it just be a 0/0 with a +1/+1 counter, and then he could go for the throat. Which probably would have done it.
Yeah.
If Crane had, in fact, gone all in again.
Now, so Samuel wanted us to recap what happened in Game 1 that all the fuss was about. So earlier in Game 1, Daniels had a had a Drall's Messenger in play without a +1/+1 counter, but with a Mortar Pot attached to it. Crane cast a Skin Render and targeted we're still unsure of the timing on this, but it looked like Daniels had sacrificed his Drall's Messenger
to deal Crane 1 point of damage.
To deal Crane 1 point of damage in response to the Skin Render. Then the Skin Render came into play, and for some reason, the Skin Render went to the graveyard.
Right.
When the Skin Render, if Daniels had sacrificed the Drall's Messenger in response to the Skin Render being cast, then the Drall's Messenger could have been killed by the Skin Render.
Right, because it'd be a 4/3 without a Mortar Pot.
It would be a 4/3 without the Mortar Pot. However, if the Drall's Messenger had been sacrificed in response to the trigger on the Skin Render, then the Skin Render would still be alive because its ability would have just been countered.
Right, but instead what happened is the creature got sacrificed, the Skin Render went to the graveyard, and then the Drall's Messenger came back, which was just completely improper timing.
It doesn't really make much sense at all. So that's what all the fuss was about. I believe it ended up being ruled as a misrepresented game state. But,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So never mind, we actually do not have a ruling on this yet.
Yeah, apparently a ruling can't be made on a game that just ended. They have to wait till the match is over, and then they'll probably do a little more investigating on it. And to the people asking about the images killing themselves, the image doesn't target, so if you copy an image, it'll just be what that image was.
Yeah, the image not targeting, usually an advantage, because you're killing a Thrun or a Geist. But
Right.
Brandon starts things off with a Diregraph Duel.
And Daniels had no play on turn 1 or turn 2, except lowly guess verdict.
And Crane is going to drop to 19 from that.
Yep. Plays Woodland Cemetery and Gravecrawler, Gravecrawler.
And that's pretty good.
It is. Now, if Daniels has a Liliana right now, he's going to feel mighty embarrassed. But nope, just a Drolf's Messenger, dropping Crane to 17. And right when he casts that, Crane pulls the image to the front of his hand and draws the blue source off the top.
Yeah.
Like a master.
That's the way to do it.
It is. And Messenger of his own. So he didn't need the blue source quite yet, but he drew it anyway. So the life totals right now are Daniels 14, Crane 17. And Daniels definitely on the back foot. If he could drop wow, that's a crazy attack right now.
Crane falls to 14 here. Phyrexian Obliterator.
Okay. That's a powerful card.
It's a very powerful card. And, Crane doesn't really have anything for that. Like, he's got Tragic Slip, but he can't kill something unless he, attacks or blocks. And if he's attacking or blocking, then he gets blown out by it. So.
Image is just really the only way to deal with it, though. He just drew a Tragic Slip. So if he can image copying that Obliterator and then somehow kill that Obliterator, only sacking maybe a couple permanents, he'll be in really good shape.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, though. He could attack with both Gravecrawlers, and then when the Obliterator blocks, he can just sacrifice both Gravecrawlers.
Well, I'm pretty sure that one Gravecrawler will die in combat.
So he'll have to sacrifice Gravecrawler and land, I'm sorry.
Yeah, which is fine.
Gravecrawler, Drolf's Messenger.
Yeah. He has more than enough mana at this point, and right now he just has to make sure that he can both copy that Obliterator and kill that Obliterator.
That's what you want to be doing here.
And I'm pretty sure that attack with 2 Gravecrawlers is the best way to do that. So image. Oh no.
Copying Drolf's
Messenger. So Crane has other plans.
Yeah, so maybe he has... maybe he's just planning on burning him out with messengers.
It looks like it. And yeah, he attacks with everything. But
Daniels is going to fall to 10 here.
This attack is fine too because he has those Gravecrawlers to sacrifice. So Messenger will die. He'll have to sacrifice permanents before that Messenger comes back, I believe.
Yes, he will.
But I don't think he'll be sacking that Messenger anyway, so that shouldn't matter. Yep, so that guy's not in play yet. This seems pretty simple to me. It just seems like Gravecrawler, Swamp is the way to go.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you even just replay the 2 Gravecrawlers afterward.
Right, exactly. So 1, 2. Well, you're not... I can't imagine he'll sack that Messenger.
That'd be pretty aggressive if he did that.
It would give him a 6/6 Obliterator.
Yeah, hey, I mean...
Let's hope he copies the Obliterator. Oh, no.
Just to copy the Drolf's Messenger.
And it's tapped, too.
Yeah, you could have had an untapped 6/6 Obliterator there. Which tramples, too.
Yeah. But he'll Tragic Slip the Obliterator. Killing it. And it appears that right now Crane has 2 4/3 Messengers versus Daniel's 3/2 Messenger.
Yeah, Crane chose not to return his Gravecrawlers.
Well, sometimes 2 zombies is enough. Yeah. There's the hand.
Yeah.
So Brandon Crane manages to take that match 2-1 against Brandon Daniels.
Yeah.
So after that game 1 mishap, he almost won the match 3-0.